Hey guys, I'm Dean with Ski Addiction.
My name's Aiden Mulvihill.
And we're here to hopefully show you a little something about pretzel tricks. I got Aiden here with me again today. He's gonna show us some of the demonstrations. Basically what we want to get into today is the main axes. In order to be able to do pretzels where you bring back your spin from one way to the other, or hold back rotations where you lock into one and kind of look shifty and cool, you need to have all your axes dialed. So getting right into it, our first axis is the 360 or the spinning axis. Twisting axis is also what it's called. That's around this point here. So I'll get Aiden to show us maybe a left 3 and a right 3. Just trying to stay nice and locked on that axis. Good job. Okay, so that was left, first one, right on the second one. Perfectly straight, he's not off balance. Good work. Next, we're gonna get into the flipping axis. The flipping axis is where we actually rotate around an invisible line here, forward or backwards. So if you get in, show us one of those. So he opted with the back flip first, perfect. And then we'll get him to do the front flip. Awesome, okay? Pretty straightforward. We can go both ways, forward and back. Next, we want to get into the Lincoln loop or the side flip, which is around this axis here, also known to be seen as the cartwheel. In freestyle and in skiing, for multiple reasons, it never is really that straight, and we tend to be a little bit in, whether it's because we're going for a grab or different reasons. So we'll get in to show us that side flip over his right shoulder, it looks like. That's quite good. You'll see, like I said, he's in a little bit, and that's totally fine. We don't need to be straight. We don't need to be grabbing. That was awesome. Now we'll get him to go make sure he can do the other side as well. Awesome. Okay, so we can spin both ways. Remember the importance of that. If you're gonna be doing pretzel tricks, well, the whole concept of a pretzel trick is that you're spinning in one way and you're spinning back the other way. So we really wanna make sure that our prerequisites for this is that you can do everything all ways. Next, moving into our actual kind of pretzel is twisting at the end of the trick. So leaving out what we do at the beginning, we're gonna try to work on all these main axes of flipping with each direction to spin out. Sounds complicated, but we'll go through with Aiden. Hopefully he can show it in a pretty clean way. So maybe we'll start with the front flip. So we're gonna get onto the front flip axis, and at the end, he's gonna spin pretty abruptly. Good. Why I say pretty abruptly is because if you really spin at the end, a lot happens in one moment, really quickly. And that's exactly what you saw there. Was that a left spin or a right spin?
Left spin out.
That was the left spin out. So now we want to make sure he can do it to the right. So we're gonna go front flip, and at the end, do a right spin out.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Aiden's got no problem with that, and guys, I'm not surprised. He's pioneering a lot of the pretzel tricks happening right now, so this is kind of his world. He's doing great with it. We want to be able to do it with our side flipping also, but just before we go into that, I just want to kind of touch on the mechanics of rotation. And why this is important is because when we do pretzel tricks, we want to give as little spin on takeoff as possible. In order to do that, well, you still need to make the trick happen. How are you gonna do it? You're gonna take a different axis on takeoff and create the other axes in the air. So our basic or simplest way of looking at it is using what we call tilt twist. And what that one is taking flip rotation and creating spin. Okay, so I'm gonna get in to show me one where he's gonna actually drop an arm to help that happen. So the back flip. There we go, that was an excellent example. He was back flipping, and then in the air, once about halfway through his flip, he dropped his right arm to the side, and that actually tilted him a little bit and helped him start to create some spin. That's a pretty simple way of talking about it, but core concept is that we want to be able to flip and in the air create our spin. Cool? Another one that's really important is our contact rotation, and this one's a lot easier to see. So basically what we're getting at is how much you create on takeoff. What happens in your feet when you're pushing into the ground. If I'm on the flip axis, this would be a lot of contact. This would be not so much. And maybe I'll get Aiden to show us one with a lot of contact. Okay, so a back flip with a lot of contact, right? He cuts his height. He's laid out the whole time, almost trying to slow down the rotation because he has so much rotation from pushing off the trampoline. And then we'll try to maybe get him to show us one that has very little contact on takeoff. So he's not creating a lot of flip. Good. And you'll see he's hanging out. He doesn't have much flip. He's getting up into the air nice and high. He needs to do something to accelerate. He has to get tight to create the flip. That's what we want to see. We want to see those accelerations in the air. Our last mechanical rotation we're going to talk about is our counter rotation, or our cat twisting. This one is basically by separating our body. If I go to the right with my upper body and left with my lower body, when I come back, everything goes the other way, kind of like a spring going against itself, and then keep going like this, and I can create rotation. The concept is that one part of my upper body is moving one way, the other way, and then it creates a bit of rotation like a cork. And this is tough to show. We have our classic shifty position, so maybe I'll get Aiden to just show me a just jump straight with a shifty 180. And you see those motions. And right away, you see, whoop, that shifty breaks his body, creating that counter rotation. A more pure way of showing it is, can Aiden, this is really tough, let's see how he does. Can Aiden set no rotation on takeoff, or almost no rotation on takeoff, no flipping or anything, just straight air, and try to create some spin out of nothing?
Well, let's see if I can do it. It's a tough ask. All right.
That was pretty dang good. Like that was, I actually didn't know he was about to do it. He was in the air and I was like, oh, he's gonna do it on the next bounce. And then you see him hula hooping his way around to make it happen. All right, so that shows us our three main mechanics of rotation that we want to be able to have dialed, working into doing things like our pretzel tricks. Maybe we can just show you guys another one of the spin outs, a more common one before we finish up here. I'd like to show you guys the looping with spinning out, because it's the one that we tend to see in our next pretzel style tricks.
Yeah.
So maybe just let us know which side you're flipping and which side you're spinning.
Right shoulder, right spin.
Right shoulder flipping, right spin. All right, let's see it. Good. Easy, right? It was like maybe a little blended, but you really can see the looping before he spins out. And we have some other clips also that we might be able to show you guys that show it really pure. But not, so that was our right shoulder loop, right?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna try to show you guys the right shoulder loop with the left spin out, okay? The other direction. That's it. So this is kind of already the start of pretzeling in some ways, but reality is we have no spin on takeoff. So we're just flipping, and because of our mechanics of rotation we talked about, there's always a way of taking the flip and creating some spin. So if he decides to take this flip and spin to the right, or if he decides to take this flip and spin to the left, that's really up to him and up to his mind, what he decides to do, which way he opens his hips, which way he looks. Doesn't actually make it a pretzel. Most people are more comfortable with one than the other. So going the other way feels pretzely or tougher, and you have to do more motion in the air to make it happen. But that's the basics of our spinning out for our entrance into holdbacks and pretzel tricks. I'm Dean Berkovich with Ski Addiction.
Aiden Mulvihill, Ski Addiction.
We're helping you guys pretzel a little bit. Woo.